Alright, people. Now I'm going to try and find Thomas. Add list. Okay. Where is he? Let's see if he's here. I don't think so yet. Not yet. Okay, let me just tell him to go live. Hi. I'm just waiting for Thomas. I just want to send him a message to go live. Because he did ask me. And I said 1 minute. So let me just check. Okay. All right, let me see. See if he's here yet. Not yet. Okay. He's not live yet. Okay. Not live yet. Just waiting for Thomas, people. I started a few minutes early and he's all ready to go. So I think now it is a bit, it's not 8 o'clock quite yet. So we're going to give him a minute. He's got 4 minutes. So let's see when he does, and then I'll check every now and then. Hi. And then we'll do the live together. And I hope we can get some good information from, he's got a lot of knowledge. He's been a practitioner for a long time, and he he told me 17 years in an ashram. Now that was interesting. Wow, that's a long time to spend in an ashram. Wow. So all that time you meet a lot of people, you gather a lot of knowledge in this path. So he's got, and especially at the moment with us all going through these serious upgrades and recalibration, the physical recalibration upgrades of the body. Oh my gosh, am I feeling it on the physical vessel? Wow. I was actually thinking of doing the live in bed tonight. Don't put it past me, people, because I will. I'll do a live in bed with my coffee, no problem. And so I actually thought, right, this is a good time to speak to him, because while we're all like really taking strain, the physical vessel, there's someone with a lot of knowledge on the physical vessel for us, you know. So what I went off to do today, I'm waiting for him to come on, not yet. He needs to go live, as I can't add him. So what I decided to do was go off today and bought a lot of fruit and veg, because at the moment for a while I've been eating once a day. You know, you just don't need to as you increase in light and stuff, and I was busy before I got ill, so I was really eating once a day. But you know, then you're not getting enough all the nutrients because you're not having fruit, vegetables. I used to eat twice a day. So in the morning I'd have fruit and granola, or you know, things like that, and then in the evening my veg. So you kind of just, yeah, so I think I lost that. And then I was ill for the last remember 2 weeks or so I was ill. And then of course this massive upgrade as well. So you're like, oh my. So that, yeah, the system needs a boot. So today was off. I want to do some water fasting and do fruit and veg and basically do smoothies. I'm going to be doing smoothies. But so I want to ask him. Okay, he's not on yet. Damn. He needs to come on so I can add. He needs to go live or I can't add him. But he's not on yet. Well, it's not 8 o'clock, so let me check. 2 minutes to go. How's everybody managing out there? Also, wow, so a lot of people tired, headaches, all kinds of physical symptoms. I remember this last year sometime, towards the end of last year, late the second half of the year, we went through this real surge of physical upgrade and recalibration. Wow. And then you had physical issues as well. It was quite a long one. And for a few weeks we felt shitty. We thought, what's wrong? Why's your vibration dropped? You're feeling dizzy, you're tired, you're heavy, all these things. I know, we were all sort of questioning it. It was the first time we did it. And then it was finished. Wow, you're back on again. And a better. You're back on in a higher high. Hi. He should be joining us shortly. I'm going to check in every now and then to see if he's started to go online yet. Yes, he's online. Yes! Let's invite the man of the hour. All his wisdom. I've sent him an invite now. Hello!
Hello.
Hey, I'm so glad to see you tonight.
Oh, you can't hear because Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
Amazing. How are you?
Well, I need I thought I'll wreck your brains because at the moment we're all going through, really, wow, this very dense energy.
Yes.
And physical, I saw that. I remember Crown mentioned it, physical upgrades and recalibration. So the cells are actually physically, our body is physically changing. Our cells are taking on more light. They're actually recalibrating our body, a physical vessel. So, I mean, people are having pains, aches, exhaustion, tired. And I thought, oh my.
Yeah.
And then I remembered, I thought, you know what, I haven't fasted. I was sick just recently. So that's all the toxins. I thought, you know what I'm doing? I'm going to the shop, which I did today. Fruit, veggies, smoothie thing. And I'm just going to drink water and I just want liquid. I'm still dehydrated from the other night. So that maybe you
Yes.
can give us some advice through all this, you have far more knowledge. Anyway, you could just do your thing and I'm going to listen and see what you can tell us.
No. It's good. Let's have a conversation. Ask me questions. So basically, okay.
Well, I
Let me
want to learn
share.
about you. So I said to him, you've got a great background. You would have if you spent 17 years. So give us some idea and all that knowledge and all
Okay.
this you met.
Okay, here we go. Cut a long story short, I have been in the field of Ayurveda for over 35 years. And I managed to live in an ashram for 10 years in my 20s. And when I was actually getting into Ayurveda, Ayurveda was hardly known. It was something that people didn't even know at the time. And I keep saying very often in my interviews, my first article that was published about me was Witches, Gurus, Ghosts, Teachers of Ayurveda, Yoga and Meditation. A big picture of mine with a list of stuff that you can get from internal bleedings to mental confusion, sexual disorientation, blah, blah, blah. So basically, we have come a long way since Ayurveda was introduced initially to the world. So, and during the course of those 30 years, I had several times where I just thought, I can't do this. I just had enough of this. Nobody wants to know about Ayurveda. I get the proper job and that's it.
You see, look, you had a lot of light workers started way ahead before this awakening. You were guided, you were the early forerunners. So
Yes.
think about it now. Everything is going back to homeopathic, ancient wisdom, ancient knowledge, ancient remedies. So you're on the pound seat now. You're ahead of the game and all that knowledge and wisdom and things you've gained for all the years.
Yeah, but I think what I must also say is that it's been an incredible journey. It's been tough because doing shadow work isn't easy, as you know. And I wanted to escape several times, but each time I tried, nature has put me back on track. Hey, where are you going? You don't go. You have to keep going straight, just stay on your path. And at some stage, I accepted, okay, this is the route that I have to take. I did a degree in acting and performing arts in between.
Okay.
And I was working as a government official for a few years prior to getting into Ayurveda. But then, of course, I realized I can't see myself sitting behind a desk on it. I don't know. So, and when I look back now, my approach to looking at Ayurveda has completely changed. I was very fanatic at the beginning. I was very black and white. Oh my God, you drink coffee, you do this, you do that. Very judgmental. So the pendulum has swung from one extreme into the other. And it has taken about 10, 20 years to find balance, because the essence of Ayurveda, traditional Indian medicine, is actually finding balance in life. And I personally believe we are moving in a time where we are being asked to listen to what works for us, that we stop listening to gurus, we stop listening to teachers, we find our own knowledge within. I know this is sometimes might be very hard to digest because people think, oh, I have no idea and I don't know, but yes, we do, because knowledge is structured in consciousness. So as we grow in consciousness, our knowledge grows. And Anna, we have had a few conversations in the last week or so. You have shared with me the incredible stuff that basically has surfaced on your journey of awakening. And this is exactly what I'm talking about, is that We don't need to feel dependent on a knowledge system, on a particular tradition. It is good to absorb the knowledge, but at the same time, I feel it's important that we step back, breathe,
take what you want, bits, your pieces. Okay, this is my truth. That's not resonant. You take your bits because you're unique. So you take this knowledge and okay, that's for me. That's not. That's for me. You know, same with anything you listen to. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but it's hard because we have been trained and educated in such a way not to rely on our own intuition. That goes into the whole matrix of manipulation and trying to brainwash ourselves to just sort of follow a certain narrative. But I think the last couple of years we all have been pushed towards figuring out what does it mean for me being healthy, being well.
Reflection, a big self-reflection time, which is good. This is why I say people moaned about the lockdown, but there was a divine. I said to them a while ago, this is a divine plan. Everything, just trust it. It's for a reason. The awakening wouldn't have happened. There wouldn't have been self-reflection. People wouldn't have looked at their lives and their marriages, and you know what I mean. We had to bring the world to a stop for us to say, holy shit, you know, this is wrong. That's not working. Did I really marry you?
Yes.
Know, am I supposed to be with you? I don't like that. All these kind of things. It's like a massive, as I said, reset of the planet. But it's for us to look at everything in our lives, in the collective, our shadow, everything. Wow, it's been quite a. It's going to be a journey. We only just started.
Yes, and I think because you just sort of started off the conversation with sharing some of my experiences, and please, everybody who's listening, who's watching, do not take this as gospel. Just take away what you feel like and leave the rest and go on your own journey of exploration. I've done last week 5 days of water fast. I do this once a year. I have been fasting regular once a week for about 24 to 36 hours, and I've done that for the past at least 5 or 6 years. And once a year, at the beginning of the year, I do an extensive 5-day water fast. My God, was that difficult this time, because exactly for the reasons, energy low, feeling tired already before I even started the fast. There's cosmically, energetically so much going on with Mars being in Scorpio, with Mercury retrograde. I mean, you know what? It's always good that we have astrology, because whatever goes wrong, we can blame astrology for it. But in essence...
But if you know the alignments, I mean, we know we've got, that's what I said to people. This is a massive spike that came in. Why do you think we had that massive volcanic eruption? All of these, if you can tell, if you go look at the Schumann, not the Schumann, because that's our consciousness, that's a level of the consciousness, actually. It's a good consciousness meter, the Schumann. But the solar flares and radiation, or CMEs, whatever you want to say, solar radiation coming in, unseen or not, the light that we see in our third eye, when it waxes planet, I mean, when we've got a big burst like that, and this is that astrology part we're in right now, and this is why we're going to have to do like big, we're going to see some big, and I told people, you can actually tell by watching earthquakes and by watching the volcanic actions, because 2 or 3 days before you'll have a big earthquake, or the earthquakes, another round goes around, you've had a CME hit Earth, because that energy goes into the center of Earth, reverberates, rings, and it comes to this, and then we know about it. So this is what's happening with us. We've got a big surge that's pushing up so much darkness. So we've had that big surge. I mean, it caused an eruption, but it's also caused an eruption of the darkness. We're all having to transmute such. Oh my good grief!
But if you look at it from a more 3D level, I will put it 3D way, the eruption is represented to the element of fire. And fire has the possibility of, it can transform, it can heal, but it can also destruct. So what is really, when these events happen, it is an invitation for us to think, how can I work with the element of fire? Because fire represents metabolism. In my thinking, it represents digestion. So what is it that I can do to improve my digestion, to change my metabolism, to give my system an opportunity to digest any unwanted waste, any so-called toxins or whatever sits in the body. And people keep forgetting that the body, our physical body, is the vessel that holds the divine. Yes, we are in essence light, that is true, but we have come down into this physical body, into an experience of utilizing the five senses, hearing, tasting, touch, sight, and smell, so we can actually remember again that we are the light, that we are not the dense physical body. But at the same time, we need our physical body to embody these experiences, because otherwise you have got people running around, they have got all these higher states of consciousness experiences, totally ungrounded, don't really know what it means to eat properly, hardly have any sleep. So this is where I feel we need to also keep in mind, how can we take our body, our physical earth body, through this journey? And detoxification is a very important one. And a very simple tip, which is in
Mind, body,
Ayurveda.
balance, like you said, balance. Mind, body, spirit, all should be balanced. Tikdan Han said that as well. He was saying, yeah, you can see. So if you do that, and being able to then still be human, being able to balance, to nurture the brain, nurture the mind, nurture the body, and the soul. Yeah.
Exactly. And one thing in Ayurveda which is very simple to do is just utilizing hot water as a detox regime. So basically, they have found in a research that when you boil water for about 10 minutes or so, its molecular structure changes. So it gets absorbed easier, digested easier. It sounds bizarre. How do we need to digest water? Yes, actually we do. So it gets digested easier, absorbed through the cells, and then is able to pull out the toxins from the system. So it has a very strong detoxification effect by boiling the water. So let's say in the morning, get a pot with whatever, 1 liter, 1.5 liters of water on the stove, boil it for about 10 minutes, filter the water, put it in a thermos flask, keep it in the thermos flask, and have small sips every about half an hour, 20 minutes. If you want to take weight loss seriously, then more frequent is better. Don't have, okay, this is just plain hot water. Do not add anything else in it for the purpose of utilizing it as a detox mechanism. I always start my day with a glass of lukewarm water with a little bit of lemon juice and maybe some apple cider vinegar instead of lemon juice sometime. That is a good detox way. But if you want to keep going throughout the day, try to sip hot water. It improves your metabolism, increases your sense of taste. It scrapes out the toxins from the tissues, and it really prevents you from cravings. You know, sometimes during the day, oh, I feel like having a nibble here, some nuts or whatever. If you start sipping hot water, you start to realize much more what is your true hunger. Is it more appetite or hunger? So that's simple medicine to do for everybody that choose to.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. You would think, oh, you could have, I mean, because in the old days you could drink from rivers, streams, I mean, mountain streams. Oh my gosh, sweet, real, clean, pure mountain water. Oh my gosh, I haven't had that for a while. Even up here, because the runoff, all the farmers, the amount of pesticides and herbicides, you know, that just goes into our groundwater. So I didn't know that. I didn't know warm water. And it's funny enough, look at our grandparents. They used to drink hot water or water with lemon in the morning. Always.
Yeah.
Lemon. Yeah. So you're saying, okay, but don't put the lemon in the morning. Just drink the hot water.
So what I'm saying is, if you want to do the lemon water in the morning, have that as one drink, a one-off in the morning to detoxify. But throughout the day, get into the habit, put yourself about 1.5 liters in a thermos flask, keep it hot, and have small sips. It's not about quantity, but frequency. And it should be hot, like tea hot. There's no point in sipping it when it is lukewarm or cold. So if you want to get the medicinal effect, this is a simple thing. It doesn't cost anything, just commitment.
Wow, that's fantastic. I didn't know that. I had no clue. So you see, that's what I was saying. That's why I wanted to get you on. That you've got to have some good knowledge. I look at your thing, it's frankincense, and I'm right. There's a lot to learn. I mean, my life was completely the opposite. You see, my 3D life was absolutely opposite. It was just work. There was no balance, no health, no nothing. It was high stress. It was absolutely the opposite. It was high stress, high risk, don't eat, don't do this and that. I mean, my poor system was so abused. I had 2 burnouts in this lifetime already, 2 like complete burnouts. And
So if you think about burnouts and if you think about what you have just described, again, looking at it from an Ayurvedic understanding, we have the 5 body types, the 3 body types, which is Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. I'm not going to go into details here, but basically, burnout, exhaustion, chronic fatigue is an imbalance of an impaired element of space and air. So your body is completely dried out, depleted. So, and people also think, and then probably what you have experienced, you were extremely exhausted and tired, but still you couldn't sleep properly. Am I right there?
Go to overstress when you get to extreme stress. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Our body actually needs energy to sleep. That's another thing. Our body needs energy to sleep. So we can't be very exhausted, totally wound up, and then we go to bed and we can't sleep. So this is when the air element and space element is completely out of sync. So think about it. What does the air do? It is like the wind that blows. So it's cold, rough, drying out, it changes constantly, lots of movement. So if you think about your lifestyle at the time, probably lots of changing, irregular eating and sleeping patterns, probably food on the go, food on the run, maybe more dry foods, less.
At one stage, I think I just didn't have leave. I worked for 7 years without a leave or anything. I just worked. It was really long work hours, and I mean, I was just so. That was it. And a lot of stress. It's emotional, yeah.
So the best way to bring that down, I mean, there are a few ways, but a simple thing to do is in the evening when you go to bed, just get yourself a little bit of any oil, ideally sesame oil, or if you have access to an Ayurvedic Vata oil, will be brilliant. Rub some oil on the soles of your feet, you know, and do a little foot massage at nighttime, because it takes the heat from the head, brings it back down into the feet, so it calms the wind, it calms the Vata. As I said, Vata is dry. Oil basically is the opposite quality, which brings down that high-strung, totally aggravated, restless energy of Vata by simply applying some oil on the feet. If you have essential oils.
Wow, you see, good grief, I learned that all those years ago.
So lavender is a good oil to use. So if you have lavender, put it in your oil, massage your feet before you go to bed, and that will support a healthy sleeping pattern. Simple, you know.
I was just saying to people, because our melatonin's actually apparently banned. You can't buy it in England. How's that? I mean, that's ridiculous manipulation of the market. But they've brought out everything else. Your environment actually depletes, or it's blocking our melatonin production because we're blocking out the sun. We never get direct sunlight anymore. It's always overcast cloud, so there's no direct sunlight.
Yeah.
We've got LED lights, blue lights, computer screens, all this nonsense. So it's really interfering with the production of a melatonin. So if you can't buy it here, certain countries, to be able to take that supplement, if you're not, to help you sleep. I heard a doctor say the other day, it was interesting, infrared light.
That's right.
So yeah, you could use infrared light, that will help. And so I thought, wow, okay, that's a good idea, yeah. So
I mean, talking about
thank you.
Talking about sleep hygiene, one of the things that we also need to keep in mind is that not to have our bedrooms too warm. Excuse me. It's important to have a cool bedroom, because the reason is, now, it's very simple. If the room is too hot, our body, the engine of the heat engine, fires too much, which increases the circulation. And because our circulation is increased, it basically opens up the blood vessels. it is an increase in energy, so it's more difficult to fall asleep. And besides of the fact it's not good for the sinuses in general to sleep in a room that is totally heated up. And you probably have noticed, I do for sure, when I go sometimes, you go into those hotels, let's say before 2020, when we were still traveling, when you go into the hotels and they have got the air conditioning on and you can't actually switch it off or regulate, I really hate it. I wake up next morning with a total hangover because it's too hot in the room. It blocks my sinuses. So basically what I'm saying, keep your room cool, make sure you sleep in a darkened space, and try to refrain from any screen time at least an hour and a half before you go to bed.
You know what? I saw some sort of study talking about this, and they said the perfect temperature. They did a lot of sleep studies. I think is it 18.5 degrees or 21 and a half? Something like that is a perfect
18 and a half.
At 18.5, you set your thermostat for 18.5 and you sleep. I always slept well when I used to go to some hotels, especially near airports, because then they had to have soundproofing. It was pitch black. There's really thick curtains, blackout, really soft bed, like a beautiful mattress, pitch dark. And I was like, oh, this is heaven. I love that. Dark, and quiet.
Yep.
I like the quiet and cool, and then you're just in there and you're like, oh my gosh.
Usually the argument is just sort of, it triggers my thinking, like when you said about pitch dark. Usually the argument is people, when I say, okay, make sure your room is dark. Yeah, okay, I use blinds to cover my eyes. No, this is not enough. Our skin is the largest organ. It is photosensitive. So it reads if there is light that hits the skin and makes our body think, oh, actually, it's not time to sleep. I should be awake. I should be running around. So darken room, blackout curtains, make it as dark as possible, keep the temperature really cool, stay away from watching screen time about an hour and a half, and also maybe have what I call a night drink. Would you like me to share the recipe of the night drink?
Yes, please.
It's very simple. This is different to the immune drink that I've got on my TikTok account.
Yours, I loved the cocoa one. I absolutely loved it. I was listening to it. I thought, I'm coming to visit you for hot chocolate. I like you.
So basically, for the nighttime drink, get any kind of nut milk that you have, any kind of milk of your choice, actually. And you boil this with a little bit of turmeric, black pepper, and some oil of your choice, just a touch of coconut oil or whatever oil you choose. And I'll explain in a minute why. Add a little bit of saffron, and you can add some ginger to it, and boil this briefly. Have this as a warming night drink before you go to bed. And you can add, for example, also some almonds in it, or some almond flour if you want to make it like a little bit of a paste. It's very good because it really calms the nervous system. Specifically, saffron is one of the very important spices for reducing nervous tension and stress. And turmeric, if you use turmeric, always use it in combination with black pepper and a little bit of oil. So if you research, turmeric is very well known for its health benefits. It goes from antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral, in boosting immune system, cellular repair, and so on and so on. But here's the thing.
Saffron, I thought it was just for color. You see, you don't know this. Wow.
So, but there's no point in having just, let's say, a teaspoon of turmeric in your food. Turmeric needs the piperine in the black pepper, which is a chemical compound in the black pepper that activates the curcumin, which has all those health benefits in turmeric. So you need a vehicle to basically extract the healthy properties of turmeric. So that's black pepper and a little bit of a source of oil, and boil that to release the compounds for it. And it enhances, if I'm correct, it enhances its bioavailability up to 800 times in comparison to just having turmeric as such.
Well, that's probably explains why I'm having fun sleeping here, because unfortunately, the place I moved into now, I've got a skylight right above my bed. I mean, right.
Oh, yeah.
And the moon, or I've got, and when especially when these things come in, I actually feel my ceiling. I'm
Yes.
thinking, I know it's come. So, you know, I don't see it. It's nighttime, and especially when these things come in, I mean, it hits me, and I feel them. So I'm lying there. I know I was thinking about doing something or getting some electronic, because I can't even reach it, it's so high. Getting something to block it. It's lovely if you to lie there, look at the stars or the moon, but I mean, otherwise, it's too light for me. I like dark.
Yes.
I don't use lights in my room and my bedroom. I've got my little aromatherapy thing, and I use candle next to my bed. But I bought glasses. I especially bought glasses to reflect this blue light nonsense. I've got ones that I can use. And if I do them, I find I do get tired. It doesn't cause a problem. Whereas this, you know,
amazing. Yes.
This will stop you from sleeping if you just, you know, on your screen and rubbish. But you can get glasses now that reflect that blue light nonsense, so it stops you, you know. Yeah, because that's just preventing us from producing melatonin. Absolutely.
Exactly. Which keeps us awake. I mean, which is part of, I believe, of the urbanization of people, just to stop and prevent prevent us from actually tapping into the cycles and rhythms of nature. If you go back into a city like London, in fact, I moved out of London in July and I haven't been back. You know, it's quite interesting. City like London, there is, it's like there's no night, you know, nobody goes to sleep. There's lights, siren all the time, lots of activity. So I've just lost the plot for a moment, lost my thought train. Why did I say that? Because of the fact that we are basically living in an environment where there's constantly stimulation, which prevents us from actually following the rhythms of nature. If you look at outside, the birds start to go to sleep, especially in summertime. When the sun starts to set down, they wake up when the sun starts rising. This is basically aligning ourselves with the rhythms of nature, and we have lost that possibility because we have artificial light sources. We don't eat properly.
Look at our shoes. They've even done it to horses now. Horses have metal shoes, which stops them from grounding. And then the horses are getting information. People are wondering why the animals are getting sick, because the animals are getting medicines and nonsense and vaccines, which humans did. Our horses have got metal shoes on. Stops them. I mean, they can't ground. There's information. So same with us. And we used to have shoes in the old days before they bought the rubber. Remember when first I remember I was still young, not that young, when they invented rubber. And it was, the new thing, plastic and rubber. And then we've got, of course, rubber in our shoes. So there's no leather. Before we had grounding. I lived barefoot lots of times. I used to run around barefoot. I was always barefoot. We've got
absolutely.
That. Completely, I mean, oh, wow. And then we're in this artificial environment, you say. Artificial lights, everything is, and our water is, you know,
Well, it is a story that basically goes on. And I think it's just like, we can't get lost in this whole thing and it can drive us crazy. But even if you just pick up one thing, even if you just decide to do some grounding exercise before you go to bed, go outside, walk bare feet for 5 or 10 minutes, stand on the grass, breathe in, imagining the breath, the light coming through the crown of your head, moving through your body into the earth, and then breathe again from the earth all the way up through your body. Just do this grounding exercise for a few rounds before you go to bed. It's amazing.
Even a little meditation type thing as well. 5 minutes breathing, little meditation you can do to calm the body. Or also, I sometimes sleep with my stone. So I sometimes, through my third, through the higher consciousness, connect to Gaia. Ground myself, touch, when you see the roots or stone, and connect me straight to Gaia. Although you can also do the same thing. You can pretend, it's like visualization, that you are lying on the grass somewhere under the stars. You know, you're lying on Gaia. So you can do that with your third eye visualization. Yeah. So that also is a way of energetically connecting to Gaia while I'm still stuck, you know, on the third floor.
Yes. If you get the chance, if you have got trees outside, go and lean against trees. Go and hug a tree. I know, like I used to live in London, and I used to go regular to Regent's Park, and I've got one tree, and it's quite funny. The tree at some stage told me his name, and I go there, and I used to go there and hug the tree and just sort of feel the energy and allow the negativity to drop off, especially when we live in the city in a condensed environment. By the way, the name of the tree was Mohuta. So Mohuta was the name of the tree. I've got some kind of, it doesn't happen to me always, but often when I go, even here where I live now, after a few times, the tree told me the name. This is a female tree that I like to go here on my property.
Yeah, that takes a while. Almost like a building up a trust or relationship. I think they check your energy, if you're bringing energy in the area or not, and you're sending out. You'll see, I found that, yes, I did. It's interesting.
And there's a lot of information that comes from the trees, because the trees are basically the connection for us to the higher realms, really. Like are these species on the planet, its roots go very deep into Gaia, its branches reach out high into the sky. So I have a deep respect for trees, and the knowledge and wisdom they can pass on. If you sit in meditation underneath the trees, listen to it, ask questions, the answers will come if you open yourself up to it.
Anything, yeah, everything's good energy. I know that in Gaia, being out in nature it lifts you up incredibly well. If you can get out there and do that and do breathing as well when you walk, it lifts you. It absolutely raises your vibration. Oh, totally.
Yeah. So how do you cope with the so-called, I don't really like to use the word, but I haven't got any other terminology, ascension syndromes? Because a lot of people suffer from the implications of raising energy, frequency, and vibration. So how do you cope with it?
You go through phases. So like this one's a big burst. So you go through phases. It doesn't really bother me, really. Besides not sleeping much, as I say, sometimes, especially when we're getting these, and because I'm under skylight and it's too light, I'm right underneath this thing. So that's the one thing I've been battling with since it's probably about. It's been quite intense actually since about, I think it went up. It went up on this sort of scale. It's purposely doing it, and they to get us ready for these big surges, and it does it. So about December I noticed, and then I do, then I don't. But yeah, I don't really suffer too much from it. I was walking every single day before I got sick. So I was out. I used to go up the mountain. I was out every day. I go for a really good walk. I go sit by the river. I love the water. I'm very connected to water. Wow, I love it. And like you. So I'll go sit on a tree actually by the river, or I go up the mountain and breathing, and that's so relaxing. And then I did as I say, I used to do that. I used to do my qigong. So I mean, I was very grounded. My meditation every morning, my qigong, my walk. You're eating, so you're fine. But if you're out, as you say, if you get sick now and you're not eating any of these things, you throw your system out. Yeah, you got to get it back in. It's like, oh, wow.
I think one of the things also is important not to fight the symptoms. If you are tired, take a break. Go and maybe lie down. Just close your eyes, do some breath work, go and get some fresh air. So not to push ourselves, because our body needs that space, like how can we transform, how can we change our being if we don't allow that space for that change to happen? In a sense, allow the environment, the place, your mind to come to a standstill, your body to just get enough rest, so that actually this integration can happen. Because otherwise it's going to be even a tougher ride if we don't do that.
If you resist it, people get worried as well and fearful in the beginning, because you think, okay, something wrong with me, symptoms, I'm dropping, where's my energy, all this sort of thing. In the beginning, you start questioning it, or you're worried, or you psychic attack, or whatever, some nonsense is going on. That's the ego, something bad. Oh, we got to be careful.
Yeah.
It's a paranoia of the ego. But if you let it go and you understand, now I realize the last was a recalibration. Physically, if you tap into your cells, you can actually feel them. And wow, it's quite strange. So you can see, and I tap into which part of the body are getting upgrades now, which one is recalibrating. So our physical vessel absolutely is, and that's why you need to rest in. physically our body is altering. So we absolutely do to bloody give the body, we're going to look after it, rest, sleep, eat, whatever you will be desiring or needing or drawn, just do it, because we're going to
exactly coming back again to being self-referral and refer, because our body knows how to heal. It just hasn't had the environment, the space for it, this healing to occur. If we support it, the body knows very well what to do. I'm not saying that it replaces modern medicine. Everything has got its place, but we have become lazy, or a lot of people have become lazy. They just want to swallow a pill and then want the magic to unfold. But sadly, this is not going to happen.
I think it's, if you look at our culture, we were pushed into it. I remember we used to work and go to 9 to 5, and that was it. You go home and you were off. You didn't work on weekends. You didn't have a computer. You didn't have cell phones, so they couldn't bother you. So this is clever. So now you got cell phones, and now you get after-hour calls. Then you're working now. Exactly, people are working ridiculous hours. They're working home because they stopped. When you were in the office, you left at office at 5. You walked, everyone left. No, now you're sitting behind the computer at 6, 7. Why? Because you're at home. This is a problem. So they're expecting you. So our hours increase. They wanted more work, more pressure. They put much cutting. It's all about profits. So let's squeeze more people, less staff, put more, you longer working hours, more pressure on you. So this is what happened to people. So we got so unbalanced. It was all about work, no life, no balance, no play, and chase. Be like the Joneses. You want the car. And there's another thing about, someone just said vitamin supplements. Amber, about your vitamin supplement question, Dr. Eric Berg, I don't get everything. He's still very 3D though, but he does a lot of, he does videos, tons of them every day on YouTube. He did a thing and he explains synthetic vitamins. And if you go and read what's in them, they're not a whole vitamin. So these synthetic ones, the normal ones you buy in the shop, right? The average normal vitamins. If they're not organic and whole food, they are made often with cement, with chalk, with petroleum products, plastic, those coatings. So you've got to be very careful about these. I did a thing and I shared it actually with groups. A friend, I had a group, and I said, don't take them. So I do only whole food vitamins, and I do organic or GMO free. So I'm very careful about my vitamins. But we also got to understand, normally it's money. There's a massive industry. We don't realize the vitamin industry is also an industry, money-making racket. And half the time, the quantity is so low, it doesn't do anything. Because we take vitamins, need vitamin C. Half of them, they're not going to do much because it's nowhere near enough vitamin D. So you've got to look at that, the quantity, what actually the body needs. And don't take ones with GMO free, they haven't got plastic in the capsule and they haven't got chalk. Because they're actually artificial. They haven't got the whole, like an orange, the vitamin C is only one portion of it. So actually, I think it's Eric Berg, one or two people I followed. I don't know which doctors they were. They did a very good breakdown on these so-called vitamins. And the sorbic acid, the vitamin C that you think you're buying in the shop, is a section of the vitamin C that you get from a real orange. It isn't GMO, though, organic. You got to
definitely do your research when it comes to supplements. There's another aspect to this. Okay, now people spend a lot of money on supplements every month. But the important thing here is, if your body is not in a space to actually utilize the information within the supplements, it is just producing expensive urine and you've actually flushed it down the toilet. So basically what I'm saying is, if you do supplementation, do right supplementation, but you still need to look that your body's metabolism, your body's ability to absorb the nutrients is optimized. So it comes back down to healthy digestive system. How can we improve our healthy digestive? Because the gut is our second brain, basically. So people think by taking supplements, that's the cure and this is all what they need. No, it's just, it can completely backfire if your body is not in a place to actually read the information within the supplements and you just flush them through the system. And like I said, you're just producing expensive urine.
Well, microbiome, I saw that lecture actually, that guy that won the Nobel Prize for his discovery of the microbiome, how important it is. It's not genetic. Everyone said all the illness is genetic or it's DNA. Not at all. And it shows it's a teeny percentage where it's actually all come down to the microbiome. And of course, with the work I did and being in Africa, and my work was very, so forget about good food. If you could find food, you hope you didn't get some illness. I got salmonella, I got malaria, I got Giardia. I don't know what I didn't get. So the amount of pills that were shoved down me and antibiotics, this is when I started getting ill when I finished that job, because the amount of medicine and antibiotics and this and that was pumped into my system because of my job and because of the places in salmonella, and it was this and that, and oh, bloody hell. So I got ill here, and then I started having problems because the microbiome, I'm not surprised, was bloody destroyed. After watching that lecture of his, that he won him the prize, it was like, oh my gosh. And then everybody started talking about mental health, that it's linked to mental health, it's linked to everything. I mean, heart disease, this, that, wow. So yeah, very good probiotics. I got on, I think it was Swiss Bio something. I used to buy them, Swiss Biotech or Swiss Bio something it's called. I looked them. It was a very good, huge strain. Yeah, I started taking those for a couple of months. I thought, right, fix the gut, because people say take a pill. Most of the mental illness, people didn't realize mental health, there's lack of serotonin, this and that in the brain, comes from the gut.
Yeah,
and also vitamins, the vitamin deficiencies. I did a lot of research into that, and people didn't realize zinc, your magnesium, all these things. So people have like depression and problems. It's what they do, especially in the UK, is pathetic. They don't test and they don't pick up. It has to be so depleted to pick up. They test only a few. But if you're deficient in, I think it was magnesium and zinc, there's certain ones that are so important for the brain. So if you're having the right amount of these and you fix your gut first and make sure you're not deficient in all your nutrients, you won't have that depression and mental health issues. So then no one ever checks for that. And that's where it's produced. All those things are produced there. And I learned that one. That was a wake-up call. I watched a lot of good lectures. So
I mean, that was a very good question about supplementation. Are there any other questions that you can see on it?
I'm not sure. Some coil. I'm not sure. Do you manifest? I need to manifest lots of things. I mean, it's a good time to manifest now, actually, to start doing your affirmations and getting your picture of what you want. But you know what I figured out sometimes, because we think that we're not sure, is to really tap into the heart. Try and go into the heart and sit quietly. What do I really want? And you feel the one that lights up your heart. That's a lot of the problems is. It's not that we can't manifest it. It's we're not completely. Once we decide what we want, it must be one-pointed focus. Okay, that's it. And if the heart and mind and everything's in coherence, it'll come. So yeah, I got to do some serious manifesting.
But then at the same time is allowing source to take its own course, because what we may think is good for us may be looking different on a different level. So having the focus, setting the intention, and then surrendering and letting it go and giving it back to source and asking what is in my highest good at this particular moment in time, and that requires trust. And it's because our ego is constantly pulling us back. Oh, I want this, I need that, and blah blah blah. So it's the ping pong game between the mind and our emotions that sort of plays with us. Whereas when we are in a state of meditation, surrendering, setting our intention, but then at the same time allowing for the best for our higher self to come through from source, rather than being fixated on something.
If we can completely quieten our mind, absolutely. And if it's in alignment, you'll get it. You'll know, because your heart is. You've got a choice. You've got to be.
But the heart is an important measure, because you mentioned it. I usually use it if I need to take a decision of, let's say, doing this or that, and I'm not sure what. I always take a few seconds, breathe, and then think or feel, does it make my heart shrink or expand? If my heart shrinks, I'm not going to go there. If it does help and support and expands my heart, then I'm looking at, maybe this is the route that would be good for me to take at this point in time, or the direction or the decision.
Well, synchronicities, if we go with the flow, it will automatically come. If we stop trying to plan and worry, if you just be in the now, synchronicities, things will come. Your soul's going to guide you. It's going to push you into doing. It'll automatically flow. But we do need to take some actions. Somebody asked me here, what's your thoughts on Shilajit or something?
Shilajit.
What the hell's that? Never heard of it.
Shilajit is a resin that comes from a tree, which is an ancient Ayurvedic remedy, which is really brilliant for strengthening immune system, but at the same time, it's very good for liver detox and for cholesterol levels. So it is really good, what I would call to cleanse the liver, to cleanse the detox organs. You can get it in as the resin. It's quite hard to take because it's like very almost like a stone, you know. And compare it, you know, similar to frankincense resin, but it's black. It's completely black. But you can also get it in powder. But please, when you look for Shilajit, make sure you have the best quality, because with any of those remedies, sometimes they add other stuff in it to make it more powdery, to make it more shiny. So just really check your sources when you look into those powders, herbs, or in this case, the resin.
You know, I didn't even realize so much of our food is plastic. There's plastic rice out there. People are eating. It's not even real rice. It's artificial rice, plastic rice. I mean, you think, what happened to integrity? What hell happened to this world? That we went. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't imagine 20 years ago anyone dreaming of behaving like that. You just think, wow. I mean, the corruption and the rot is like a virus. It spread through our whole, from the top down, right through to the, you know, well. It's quite shocking actually to think. I mean, that what we're eating, people don't realize. Can I give you another little test, guys who are listening? If you want to try this, I tried it sometimes for fun. If you're in a really connected, when you're in that zone, when I go shopping, I get my higher self. So I'll stand in front of it now, especially if there's not organic, which is, it seems to be a massive shortage. Then I'll go. Everything you're eating is. It's got no nutrients, because it's not because the food, what they've done is 40% of the soil, the micronutrients in the soil and everything, insects, have been killed by all the pesticides, herbicides and fertilizers and nonsense they use, right? So that's why the fruit it also tastes like. I remember as a kid, you could taste the stuff. You have tomatoes now, they're very mild. So everything's very bland. It's like your food's almost watered down. Your vegetables don't taste strong because they've lost the nutrients. I mean, they haven't got the nutrients, and the soil's not rich. The soil's depleted. Our soil is completely depleted by all of these years of this shit, herbicides and pesticides and fertilizer crap they put on it. So I go shopping and I tap into my higher self, and I literally walk around the shop, tapped into my higher self, and I say, okay, now which one? So it's so fun, and it's like so you're asking also your body. That's how they do the tapping, the whole thing. But it's the same thing. Now, as Cryon says, your body it's like a supercomputer. It's your cells, and your body listens to what you say. You can actually talk to your body. You can actually talk to it, and it'll tell you. It knows exactly. So your body then communicates to your higher self, and your higher self will tell you what you need. So I cruise around the shop and say, okay, which one? And I'll just stand there and I'll feel it, and I'll be guided. It's like those tomatoes. I'm serious. Try it. It's such fun. So cruise around the shop and get your higher self to guide you to which food to choose.
And another thing, when it comes to shopping, please turn the boxes around, start reading the ingredients. Look at, are there any sugars? Are there any artificial colors, flavors? As soon as you see the numbers, stay away from it. In general, the way of how I cook and how I prepare my food is, I pretty much anything that is not available in nature is artificially produced. So be careful, where is it coming from? What are the additives, the additional stuff that is basically put into the food? Because, so basically read the labels, turn around,
but they're also manipulating it, because they're fiddled with the laws and labeling. So they say natural. Natural doesn't mean it's from nature. People be very careful. When they say natural flavoring, do not think it's actually like organic or no. This is a problem. In certain countries, they don't have to label. They don't have to disclose certain things, especially in America. They're the worst. So you've got to be so careful. England's nowhere. Europe's a bit better. England is a little bit The French are a little bit more fussy about their food, but here we eat shit.
Did you know that? Did you know that actually only a small percentage of any ingredient in a package needs to be organic in order for it to be labeled as organic food? So I think, as far as I remember, in New Zealand, it was about 15 or 20% of the ingredients need to be organic in order to be labeling it organic. Another thing, difference then between organic and 100% organic.
Yeah.
So just be careful also with this trap.
Well, I buy fruit and vegetables, so it can't be nothing because the banana is a banana. So the bananas can't be half organic. So I try and get my fruit and veggies all organic. Like oats, yeah. I know, because it's only oats in there. So the honey, I know that they're selling in the shops is not organic. At the supermarkets here, it's not at all organic. Because if you go and buy real honey, that smell, that thing. So all these supermarkets like Tesco's, Morrison's, I don't know which other ones that sell organic honey, you can see the color like brownie. It's not at all. Just smell it, taste it. It's not at all. And they say pure honey. So that's what I'm saying. We've got to understand our laws because all these companies and lawyers and fiddled. So no, they've got away and they've reduced. And so don't think natural. Don't think. You know what the worst thing is? Especially the youngsters are all gone vegan, right? I mean, the poison they're putting out in the vegan thing, it's just, I wouldn't touch a shit if you paid me. There's no point in being vegan if you're going to get these burgers and vegan meat and vegan this and vegan bacon. And if you read the ingredients, there's no point being vegan if you're putting chemicals and poison and toxins in your body.
Absolutely. Best is, I know it's time consuming, but it's so rewarding. Go back, like Granny used to do. Just prepare food from scratch, have simple meals. And nowadays, we have got the internet. There are so many recipes out there that are simple recipes that you can just put into one pot, cook a healthy, warm, delicious meal. Use the different spices. In Ayurveda, it is recommended to basically use all the 6 tastes, like sweet, sour, salty, pungent, bitter, and astringent. So a holistic, healthy meal ideally should have all of those tastes in it, because that also will reduce food cravings. The reason why we crave certain food is because we don't have all the flavors in the food. It's just mono diet without much variety, you know?
Okay, all right. I didn't know that. I had no clue. I basically try and eat fresh produce. That's mine, I know. So that's mine. Vegetables and fruit, and then, things like, but it's so difficult here to get organic fruit. Vegetables, and also the varieties are so limited. It's so limited. Oh my. But some of the vegan stuff, I won't touch it if you paid me. I'd rather eat.
Neither do I. No.
So artificial, and I thought, oh, you're kidding me, this poison. Gosh isn't too bad. There's a make called Gosh, Gosh. That's out. Some of their stuff, it's much better than this others, quinoa or something, whatever. Ooh, exactly. I was thinking, oh, that's nice, and you turn over and you read the stuff, and I'm thinking, no, Anna, make it yourself.
Exactly.
Just don't you?
Exactly.
Wow. And see what they have. I don't know. Pacific food principles in Ayurvedic to balance the body. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what any food principles besides the flavors, which I still wouldn't know which ones are sour, sharp, pungent.
Well, the principles to balance the body is, okay, now let's go back and look at it from a bigger perspective. The sun is the fire in the cosmos. Our body has our own fire, which is our metabolism, our digestion. It's the gastric fire, but also the fire on a cellular level. Now, when the sun is in its highest position, it's usually around lunchtime, even though we don't see the sun through the clouds very often in the UK, but still the energy of the sun is there. That's when our metabolism is strongest. What I'm trying to say here is, some of the principles is, try to have your main meal at lunchtime or around lunchtime. Have something lighter in the evening, because it takes a few hours for the food to digest. If we eat too late, too heavy at night, we go to bed and it compromises the detox pathways. So our body doesn't even get the chance to rejuvenate. Whereas normally, when you have a light dinner, let's say a soup or something, in the evening, then by the time you go to bed, it is digested. Your body can actually recover during the night. It's the liver time around 1 to 2:30, 3 o'clock to start to detoxify, then the lungs, then the colon, and so on. So, but if that's not going to happen, is our body is constantly busy with clearing rubbish, and it can't recover. That's where intermittent fasting comes in.
Yes.
So at least try maybe once a week a 24-hour fast or 18-hour fast. Have a meal in the evening and go for another 24 hours without any food. That's already a brilliant thing.
And you wonder if it wasn't purposely, because I found out recently listening to people, and just alternative things. And they were saying a lot of studies, a lot of doctors are complaining, a lot of studies are being funded, because it's all privately funded, to support their narrative, or, whatever narrative, these corporations or pharmaceutical, whatever. And if you think about it, exactly. I mean, I saw a whole cardiologist. There was the whole cardiologist society stood up and having a big shout at the government, trying to get sugar banned, because they're saying up and whatever else, I can't remember, about the gut, about how bad it is for the heart. Of course, nothing happens, because they'll pay. They especially have so much money that they pay for studies to support their food, to support whatever narrative. And if you think about it, remember they say, oh, you got to eat 6 times a day, rather lots. So lots of small little meals a day, right? This is what they were selling us, and eat, grains and nonsense. But now, as this Dr. Berg was saying, no, intermittent fasting as well, like eating once or twice a day is better. Don't eat breakfast. Don't eat so many meals. Why? Because it spikes your insulin level. Because when you eat, it's something to do. And you were saying to this, once you eat, it does this, and then which starts your insulin. So you're constantly getting your insulin going in your body. And then, oh, we got diabetes, so much diabetes. I wonder why. Because they were telling us to eat so often. And
see, in Ayurveda already you have had this principle for thousands of years, which basically says is don't eat until the previous meal is digested. So basically it takes between 3 to 6 hours in between meals for food to be digested. And imagine this, I just give a simple analogy. Now, if we have a fire, okay, I've got a fireplace here in my house, and I put the fire on, put some logs of wood on the fire. And if I don't allow for the wood to catch fire properly, to burn properly, if I keep on putting wood onto the fire, what does it do to the flame? Tell me. It kills our digestion. So it's the same. Even if you have small meals on 5-6 times a day, it's just adding on to it. But
that's what I'm saying.
if you suffer from diabetes, it is a bit more complicated. If you are already having insulin resistance, intermittent fasting can be very useful, especially with type 2 diabetes, but it requires a health professional to monitor the blood sugar levels. But it is not impossible to reverse type 2 diabetes with fasting.
Yeah, I know. I saw that with keto, and a lot of other people have got rid of their stuff. But that's what I'm saying. So everything we were told is actually the opposite. This is what I'm saying. Everything we were sold about our health and our sleep is absolutely nonsense. It's actually the opposite. Don't eat lots of little meals. Don't, because it's your insulin's constantly all this. I'm listening to Dr. Eric Berg. He's done a lot of good. He's done some very good stuff, that young man. He's a youngish doctor, Dr. Eric Berg. And there's another guy, and there's actually a few of them. A homeopath I follow, Cole, Dr. something, Bill Cole in Canada. And there's another guy, I think he's in Mexico. And wow, I've learned a lot. When I had to get my health back and get myself back from, the death's door, I started doing some serious research because I'd done so much damage. Of course, and they always say breakfast is so important. But look at our elderly. If you look at the age group 80s to 90s, they ate lunchtime, but also they had family lives. You see, the wives didn't work. They had a normal family structure before they encouraged the woman live movement. No, because they could get both of us working, get more taxes. That's the only reason why, which broke the family home. So we had dysfunctional families and children being abandoned. So this woman of both parties working and having children was a bad idea. And there goes also to say, I remember they still do their big meal they have at lunchtime. They have their main meal at lunchtime, that age group. And they used to have their water and lemon, all those things that we don't do anymore. And of course, you go to work, kids work, everyone. The babies are even in creche. I mean, people are dumping babies to go back to work. You don't even get maternity leave. It's horrendous. We've got the slave culture of just actually, as I said, we don't value, the human wasn't valued, goods are valued.
Yeah.
And people are killing themselves to buy goods, to get, because I want to, otherwise, we were so worried about the external, what people think of you. Well, I'm very lucky in that aspect. I've never given a toss because I've always been different, and I was bullied like shit as a little kid because I stood out. So I really was like, bugger you. I was always very different and individual. So I just, I just accepted, oh, well, okay, you're different. And there we are. So tough luck. So I didn't ever have to worry about what people thought. I didn't give a shit what people thought, but the average people do. So you want to, oh my gosh, people look down on you because you don't have a BMW. Our society, this raise and conscious shift couldn't have come any better time, because we were at the worst of the worst in all levels of our society. The highest mental health, illness, disease, depression, suicide. We were just so unhappy with life because exactly young people were like, I didn't come here just to work and die. No, we didn't. Absolutely not. We didn't live. It was just horrendous. The really, really tough last, I'm trying to think when it really got worse. I would probably say from the 80s, actually, when they started this whole capitalism, not capitalism such, but corporation or corporate and now it's just, we didn't realize where it was going to go. It was the corporations just took over and became, now we've got these massive multinational companies, and your government can't ban plastic because they'll get sued, because this corporation which owns all the shops, Morrison's, which was a British, is now sold out to an American company. They almost all our companies are foreign owned, and massive corporations that own a few. So your government's hands are tied because they sign these trade deals. So people need to go local. All these trade deals, we've been ranting about it forever. And then you can't do anything, because if you increase your minimum wages, your government, your taxes will be sued for billions because they're going to lose profit. Because so basically multi-corporations are dictating everything. Your minimum wages, your everything. Wow, it's just.
But the best way to come out of that is really to raise our vibration, raise our frequencies. And even when it comes to health and well-being, I always say, put attention to raise your vibration, raise your frequency. By raising your frequency, healing will become a natural byproduct. So I guess why I'm saying this is we can get lost in the politics of the world, but we have to take responsibility for ourselves. Like you say, go and shop local, go and turn the boxes around and read the labels, make an effort to ground yourself and look after your well-being, connect again with the essence of who you are. And especially when we are on a spiritual quest, on the spiritual journey, anybody who is in the healing field, anybody who is basically sharing message with the community, it is our responsibility to constantly change ourselves, constantly to grow and to change. And if I look at myself 35 years ago, I've come a long way but in essence, in the last 10, 15 years, my message hasn't changed. It absolutely hasn't changed. Although I have gone through my own personal journey and dealing with my own shadow aspects and growing through that, and through that knowledge and experience, then of course we change. We have got different information that we give to the friends and people around us. So, but we need to take responsibility. We can't rely on the next diet. We can't rely on the next prime minister or on this and that for things to change.
It's going to change from the ground up this time, and you can see it because it is going. This is the first time the revolution is grounds up, and it's because we're raising in consciousness and frequency, and that is the only reason why. If our consciousness wasn't raising, we would be still thinking the same way. We'd be still very greedy and very materialistic and very competitive and all this nonsense that we've always been. But as we raise in consciousness, unity, you can see this unity and collaboration is coming on board. So now we want to collaborate with each other, work together. It's about community, about working together. And you can already see that movement. It's already started, and it's just going to. So I'm so happy to watch this. Instead of like, us, everyone's doggy dog trying to, get, whatever, think of themselves, this sort of nonsense. Because this is what it's singularity, it's individuality, duality, nonsense, and same with this, they pushed down our throat. It's now going to the collective. It's about being a team, about being a group, about each other, because we're not separate. We don't care about nature. We don't care about this, the bottom dollar. And you could see it. You could see it before the actual raising in consciousness. Well, I suppose it was very slowly then from 212, because you could see the massive protest already happening about inequality. People got to a stage, you could see, I thought, this is going to come to a head sooner or later. People are just had enough of this, the 1% is, and the wealth gap was just so immense. You couldn't hide it anymore. It was just, wow. So many people were suffering. So it had to come to and luckily it didn't come to an ugly head. Luckily it's come to this way. So they're raising in consciousness instead of being angry and violent and that sort of thing. People are saying, whoa, we're going to change it. And we do, because we are the actual majority. We are the consumers. If we all demand organic and we stop buying this shit, they will stop producing less. But it takes time now to fix the soil. You can't just make, a poison farm now and turn it into organic. That's the problem. Most of the soil's been so damaged. But we have, what's the other one? Oh gosh, I'm gone blank. And the food you grow in water.
What are you talking about? Water?
Yeah, farming and water again. My brain's gone blank. Growing fruit and vegetables in water instead of soil.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it anyway. But we've got all that as well. So yeah, we've got, and you're going to see now with the raising in consciousness, I was saying, we're going to see a massive. People are saying we're getting mixed up with the Great Reset. The Great Reset's going to happen, and what they are misunderstanding is when their favorite, most disliked person is who's part of who's the head of the Great Reset. Let's say that one, and he says, this is the difference this time. The humans will change. So they think he was going to do something to us. No, they knew this was coming. We are changing. So people are, they're going to turn us into cyborgs. They're trying to change us. No, they know that we are the society. As a society, we're going to change. We're going to stop wanting to pollute stuff, and we're going to look after nature. And it's already happening. It's happening from the ground up. So we will start making better choices. You can see it. Just go to your shops and you'll see all the yogi things are popular now, and crystals, and it's like. So you can see this is already growing. All those type of clothes and the hippie type thing, and it's that whole love, that whole connection, that peace that is growing. So it will change.
It definitely is growing, and that's, like you say, that's the beauty of it, because we have gone through really. The collective has been shaken, has been basically forced to start sitting back, to feel into the narrative, and to start to use. We are being asked to start using our brains again, and we are being asked to really look at what is the logic. If the narrative changes from one day to the other, it doesn't really make sense. And everything that we are currently undergoing is basically helping us to remember who we are in essence.
Yeah, as we're raising in consciousness, we will. I mean, the things that aren't in integrity and out of alignment with the high are going to start falling away.
And the truth will come to the surface. So whatever is there, which is completely been covered and which we have been deprived of knowing, will all bubble to the surface. You can see it everywhere.
Yeah, it'll start. I don't think it'll come out. I'm sure some of it won't come out now. That'll be well suppressed. But it'll start. But it's not that. It's that we are going to start doing it for ourselves. If we can't buy it, people are going to make their little communes. They're going to start growing their own vegetables. They're going to start making these kind of things and leather shoes again. The demand will go. So we will change it. So from the artificial, there still will be technology. People are going to think we're not going back to the Stone Age. We're not going to go back to all. We are going to have technology plays a part, a very good part in our society, but it can be used for good or bad. But you will see now the younger generation, or the generation that's coming up, will be in a higher level of consciousness, thank goodness, when they get into government. So we'll have a change. We won't have this bitching, fighting, backstabbing, one trying to slander the other, and oh my, this tennis match nonsense. We will see collaboration and a bit more, not this two-party. It's just a game. It's given us to fight each other. And it's just, we're going to change. And also tapping into the quantum now, those that are doing this, like Tesla, which was channeled, all these things came in, like Tesla's invention. Now we are doing this again, and a lot of downloads as we ready will start coming in for us. So we're going to see clean water, free electricity, clean, all these things, that the inventions will come through. So we're going to have inventions that'll benefit society for a change, where it's always been the other way. People will start, doing this, and if they don't get patented and shelved by the corporations, I can tell you what's going to happen, because they're doing it. They have come up with inventions, and they have been patented and shelved. Free water, everything. I mean, clean, because they'll lose money, the current people who are now in charge.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same nonsense. So, but what they're doing is they say it will start getting spread. So people like this that are going to make these inventions like that, they're going to make stuff, put it online like TikTok. They're going to share, and people are going to start, because it's open. It's open source. So people will start themselves. Oh, that's how you can make free electricity. So people will start making their own electricity and generators at home. They will not be using the electricity that you're going to pay a fortune for. It's like we made a shortage, like with the oil thing. Oh, there's a shortage of oil. Absolute nonsense. So the oil price, it's like diamonds. So we could manipulate and keep the price high. Now they've gone into technology. Oh, there's a shortage of whatever. Who knows? There's some nonsense. Sustainable energy. Absolutely not a shortage. There's a bloody free energy out of your yin yang, but we can't charge you for it. So people will start, start pulling away from the big corporations or government or supply. They won't be using the municipal electricity, waters. You'll see. And things will change, and they'll have to start changing. So this is really the first time a revolution coming up from the people. And as they change, and as those people get into power, they'll have more integrity, because they'll be in a high level of consciousness. So it's a change. It's a gradual change we're going to witness.
In exciting times. Now, I just realized that we have been on the go already for over an hour. Wow. Are there any questions left for now?
Hydroponics, yes, thank you. There's one. Aquaponics as well, with fish. Fish.
Oh, yes.
But I was thinking of aquaponics with the fish. No, anybody got questions and want to ask any questions?
This is really good. I like the way of how it flows, like just really having a good chat is really nice. And it's important that we all come together. It's important that we sort of find a way of how we can express our views, even though we are being pushed towards suppression. And I really like what you do on that, to just sort of reach out, spend your time going through social media and picking out different aspects of what you feel is useful information and bringing people together and sharing it. Because in the end, it's all about sharing. And by the way, nobody has patent on any knowledge, because knowledge has been around all the time. It's nothing new under the sun. Like our grandfather and grandmothers used to say, it's just using a different language in a different context. Even Ayurveda as such, it has been there for thousands of years. But if I look at it, it is always common sense. My granny had no clue what Ayurveda was, but she actually knew a lot of the Ayurvedic principles and concepts, which are mainly common sense, like sit down while you eat, chew your food well. She always said, go to bed before 10 o'clock. If you want to reach the last train of the angels, go to bed before 10 o'clock. I didn't know. Later I figured out, oh yes, because the time between before midnight is the best time where the body produces again the greatest amount of human growth hormone. So rejuvenation, anti-aging. So it's all common sense.
Always made us sleep at least 8 hours or 10 hours a night. She says it's very important for your growth and your IQ, whatever. So we always, that's what I'm saying, would be forgotten over time. And then we also push to work, and the pressure they put on the young people as well. It was the amount you got to produce, you got to faster than this one. There's so many people. So it's like they try to make a shortage as well. Like there's resources, human resources. Like you were like, oh, you got to compete with that one, because so we're going to bid for you. Like, you got to, so you bring your price down, because otherwise you won't get work, or we won't hire you.
Yes.
Just to compete. Everything is a short. There's no shortage of anything on this planet. Absolutely not. Love, yes. Integrity, there was. All the values and the morals, there was a shortage. But it's coming up again. And I think it's amazing to see. I'm so happy. Wow. It's incredible. And
it's an amazing time to be alive. And it's important that we go through this with joy, have fun with it, because a lot of the time we just get lost in the drama of day-to-day existence. But it's important that we don't forget the fun in this whole game, in a way to just sort of, when I say fun, just listen to ourselves and think, okay, what do I need at this point in time? What is it that makes me feel uplifted, lighter, joyful? How can I keep my vibrations up high? And this is the question that we have to, what would be good for us to sort of reflect upon several times a day, rather than being stuck in the negativity, in the news, whatever goes on. In fact, I don't
watch any of it.
probably the same. I don't have any news. I haven't even once owned a TV in my entire life.
Oh, bloody really excellent. Wow.
I haven't had
Amazing.
a TV, and I have had one watch. Interestingly, in my book, I share a little bit about my story. I owned one watch, and that was gifted to me by my godfather, and that's it. No watch. I never have had a TV, and just basically, yeah, just live a simple life. And we are moving again towards community living. People come together, sharing resources, sharing food, nutrition, and all of that.
It's about 10. I can see that. Look at the movement. Just watch people. Even it doesn't matter what age you're watching out there. And it's on the awakening path, on the shift. It's about taking care of yourself.
Exactly.
Massive. Going back to, we got to be happy. What's the point of even being and taking care of ourselves? It's going back to, we are a priority, not that we are you're dispensable. That's what they were taught. You were taught like you were dispensable. Oh, well, they can just fire you and get someone else, and you should be lucky you have a job. And this, it was we got in such a negative, the ego, well, it did go to its darkest pit before it collapsed. So can we do this again? Because
yes, definitely. I mean, just to finish off, it's about self-respect. We need to respect ourselves and not become or not remain the puppets of the opinions and the imposed duties of the people around us, like it's about having self-respect, standing in our own truth, and knowing that my truth might be different from your truth, and that's okay. We don't need to sing exactly the same song. We have got all the different tunes, and it's all fine. But in the truther community, I find it sometimes very difficult, because people can become very fanatic. Oh, he is in a lower state of consciousness, or she is in a higher, she's more advanced than me.
They're working. That's the game. We're going through the ego. We're going through ego shedding. So then you're going to do that.
Exactly.
I look back at some of my videos. That's why I haven't deleted a year or so, and I'm like, oh my gosh. When you first start, as you're going up, you can actually see it as you're shedding layers of your ego and shedding layers of your was. And I'm like, okay. And then I realized, I need to work on being humble.
But you know what you do is, the way how you present yourself is, you don't shy away from being vulnerable, to say, okay, this has been the way of how I've been in the past. I was very fanatic. I was like, oh my God, you are still eating meat, doing this. I mean, I've been a vegetarian for 18 years, and then I had to stop being vegetarian because I had all these malnutrition and side effects, have been basically eating chicken and fish. And then I just find it now, I am at a place where I listen to my body, and it feels right to have a chicken broth. If I feel tired and weak, I will have a chicken broth. I don't feel guilty about it. But then most of the time my diet is plant-based. But it doesn't mean that I need to be fanatic, that I need to convince every single person that my way or the highway, basically.
That's still part of the lower consciousness. That takes a while to, you've all got to go up. So I don't judge. I can see people sometimes say, oh, you're going to do this. And I'm like, okay, you're still telling people what to do. You're still in the very 3D, the lower but we were all there. So it's just patience with them. That's why I say we're all at a different level, and we're all going through it. And then you pop up, and then you realize, oh, okay, now I'm here now. Ooh, I've got that. And you work on it. So one thing I want to tell people, which is sad, I see the young, but we were the same when we were young. You're trying to reflect, and you're all you're still very much in the ego in some ways, because you're trying to get your own identity, your own, instead of just being, but unique. I learned that as a young person, because I had the hell bullied out of me for being different. I was different. So I was very bullied right throughout, because I never wanted to, I never just was, part of the group team. I was always different. So and I obviously did enough to stand out. I just accepted eventually. I was, okay, you're just different, whatever. You're not the same as everybody else. But I wasn't like, the Barbies or in the netball team, or, that I was just different. I really was.
Exactly, yeah.
Just embrace you're all different. Every single one of us is unique and a different fractal of source. Doesn't matter what you look like. It's got nothing to do with the person that you are. That's the reason why we were boring. So just love you for what you are, what you look like, how you don't judge yourself, and just bugger everybody else.
Exactly.
Don't be nasty.
Exactly.
Love yourself. Just understand, this is me. I chose this body for a reason. Make the most of it.
Be compassionate. So thank you very much, and let's do this again in a couple of weeks' time. Let's stay in touch anyway.
Yeah, I want to try and do maybe a regular one. We can do it, and we do one on, maybe next time we do one on the frequency of vibration. Let's just see what's happened. Yeah. Yes,
wonderful.
Okay. Thanks,
Take
Thomas.
care.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for watching.
All right, people. Bye.
Ciao, ciao.